everyone, this is Anshu Jain and welcome to Fluxx Talks. Well, another exciting conversation lined up for the day. Well, I'm joined by a remarkable guest, Leonardo Braune, the founder and managing director of Intercorp Group, a leading name in global corporate structuring and international estate planning. And in this episode, we dive into two powerful themes: how he approaches failures and setbacks while staying committed to his long-term vision and his expert views on the future of estate planning and corporate structures in an evolving global landscape, which is shaped by shifting regulations and new legislative realities. So let's dive in. Leonardo, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for being here.
Well, to begin, I would want to understand that how do you approach failure or setbacks while staying focused on your vision?
Failure is, for me, a part of success. Mm-hmm. And the reality is, if we don't fail, we don't know where we improve and what we need to do to basically serve our clients better. So the best approach for me to take on failure is to basically view that as a necessary step to move forward and to actually get better quality. I was a swimmer before I began my professional career. Mm-hmm. And you're trained to basically, do as much as you can for a very little short time frame of success when you're competing. So it's absolutely necessary to fail and to learn from others' failures so that you can potentially have success. I try to teach that onto my team, and I learned that from most of my clients who all are successful entrepreneurs today, but I learned from their failures all through their lives.
Do you believe that sports transform your complete personality?
Yes, for sure. Absolutely. I know my dad enrolled me in swimming when I was 4 years old. And the first thing I remember is actually losing. And the feeling of losing after training so hard got me to basically face two realities. Either I was going to accept that or I was going to do something to change that. And that started with, initially with the sports, then it went into school, then it went into personal relationships. And then later on in life, it actually became the driver from my professional career.
Right. The industry that you are in is extremely challenging. I would want to understand, how do you navigate the journey when there's so many other players in the market?
Yeah, the reality is to basically not try to compete or to actually perceive yourself as trying to be better than anybody else, but committed to one particular purpose. I think client advice is based on purpose, and my purpose is to pretend that I'm in the client's shoes at all times and see what I would want if I was him. So trying to understand his story, trying to understand his background, what he went through, learning from the people side of the business helps me basically try to think, how would I do this? The opportunity that I have is that I deal with many different people from many different cultures. So people see this as a challenge. I see that as an advantage because I get to learn from different cultures, from different businesses, from different stories, and they're all success stories one way or the other. And by doing this, I just keep focused on what would I do, what would I want? And the more I live with, the more I can actually add value on it. So I see this as a very, very good opportunity.
Wonderful. Of course, from what I can understand, for you, challenges are not setbacks. They're the opportunities to explore, learn, and grow further. All right. You spoke about your purpose in the professional world. I would want to understand, what is your purpose in life?
Yeah. My purpose in life is to make a difference on people and to basically, try to give back what I got when I was very young. There was a lot of experienced people that I had the opportunity to work with, and I was still a trainee. And they believed in basically potentially my talent, my desire, my wishes. And I had a lot of opportunities that for me, I saw them as challenges, but they were opportunities, as a matter of fact. I try to do the same. So I would like to be able to see back and look back at my life and know that I've made a difference. And not only with my team and the people that work with me, but on my clients, because they trust me with their families, with their values, with their problems. And I know that the best outcome is when they come back and say, thank you because you gave me good advice, or thank you because you made a difference in this particular decision. I'm happy because of that. That is the most gratifying feeling you can get.
I guess the most satisfying, the most gratifying feeling in the world is when we understand and when we realize that yes, we were of service, of some help to others, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, when you see people, powerful businessmen, that are facing challenges and they don't know what to do. They are opening up themselves to say, I have doubts. What do I do with this? How do I deal with that problem? And then all of a sudden you have the opportunity to give them your feeling. And they take that and then you see that it works. It's almost making it come true, that responsibility of that advice that you gave initially. And you end up becoming, it's difficult to describe that feeling, but it's just fulfilling overall. And it's amazing.
You get a good sleep.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's
All
exactly
right. Now it's time to dive deep into your core subject matter. But I would want to talk a bit about the work, the industry that you are into. Now, what are your views on the future of international estate planning and corporate structuring, considering the evolving global landscape and legislative changes?
Globalization in general has become a topic that's been talked about for the last 20 years. But the truth is, the speed in which things are evolving now are much more different than people expected. I mean, the truth is we see on today's reality things that we used to see in movies when we were younger, with the technology, with AI, and with everything. Governments are having challenges of how to deal with this. I think the key change is that there was business governance and family governance, and they were dealt separately. A lot of people used to keep these things separate. I think the main change on corporate structuring becomes merging the two. And the challenge when we talk about estate planning, in the past, it used to be about how do I pass on my wealth? Now it's how do I carry on the legacy that was built? How do I actually make my children be able to continue to value this business or to make educated decisions on what to do and at the same time balance with their desires? So it's become a much more different professional because it's no longer about just technical aspects, about tax efficiency, about a particular strategy. It's about being capable of discussing the family needs and the business needs and somehow merging them together. And in the event they can't be merged, because sometimes it happens, then you got to take a very cold approach to this and make it a professional business. So sometimes there's no room for succession within the family because the family just doesn't want to do that. And it's their right to do something else and be able to accept that and make the patriarch understand that his children do not want to be like him, not because they don't admire him, but just because they see talent in something else. That's also very important because then the family dynamics become much better.
Absolutely. You eventually cannot push somebody to pursue your goals, dreams, and desires.
That's exactly right. And this is one of the key elements that I see changing. In the past, if the businessman was in a particular factory, his expectations was that his kids would be able to do the same. And if he had 3 kids and only one of that was the one doing it, then that one would be the preferred kid to do this. And the other 2 were just not part of that. Now, this is changing. And I think that now it's a matter of understanding that say, look, this was your success story. Your family is grateful for this, but they want to do something else with this. And then sometimes it's a philanthropy, it's social causes. There's many different things as part of that. So the responsibility that comes with the level of wealth that we are exposed to is much broader than just simply making the business bigger. It's about contributing and giving back somehow. And I learned this a lot in different cultures. When I go to conferences in Asia, for example, you see that very present, much more present sometimes than in other jurisdictions. And it's just a background idea, but globalization helps now people understand this. There's seminars, there's sharing sessions when, basically the hairs of these successful entrepreneurs are debating what to do moving forward.
Understand. Well, what according to you makes a great leader?
I think, leadership is something that you cannot impose. It's, people admire. And why do we admire athletes? Why admire politicians? Why admire family members? Because they touch you somehow in some sort of element that creates that connection. And I think I try to basically connect with people that are around me one way or the other by sharing and by being transparent, by knowing and that what I don't know, by being very clear in terms of what they know better than I do. And when they see this, I think they sort of put their guard down a little bit and they let the experience be shared. So leadership is a combination for me of the way you actually deal with challenges in life. At the same time, how do you accept, the qualities of other people? And it just becomes part of that. The responsibility of leading is understanding that there's people actually expecting you to tell them what they should do next. And knowing that, that responsibility is crucial to make it forward.
Do you believe in the process of taking charge, taking control, dispensing?
Yes, I think taking charge means calling the responsibility to yourself when the right time comes, because if you are the actual person that they are relying on. And a lot of times this is what I do. So, it's important to share the challenges and to share the obstacles around, because this is how you grow a team. But it comes time when you see that the people are stuck. And then that's time for you to step in and basically take charge and say, let me sort that out for you. And when they see that happening, that just creates this enormous connection of saying, wow, this is exactly how I want to do. This is what I want to do. And that's the next step. So absolutely. But to take charge, you need to have the entire team be, perceiving first that actually there is a challenge, and they have tried and they have learned and they couldn't get forward, because then they will understand what that simple step that just came because you experienced it before, because you've learned before, that happens, and that makes a difference.
Absolutely, because the trust is already built and definitely they are ready to follow the path that you have traced. All right, now I've got another question, that how do you promote a culture of excellence and innovation in your sector?
It's by staying close to the best of the best everywhere. So, the business that I built is based on basically putting together the quality of professionals globally in what they do. A family is always a family. They have their own issues. They have the business. They have the wealth. They have the challenges. But what changes are the jurisdictions and the expertise. They don't want to manage 25, 30 different professionals. That's very hard. And a lot of times what they're trying to do is do it themselves. So when I built Intercorp, the plan was to take that burden out of the family and say, look, don't worry about this. We get you. We get what your problems are. We understand what you're facing. I will take on the responsibility of finding the best people you need to help out in the different areas. And if it's a specialist in a particular country, I'll go to him. If it's in another country, we'll do this. But you don't have to worry about that anymore, because now it became our problem. You carry on focusing on what you do, and we do the rest. And when I do this, I get to spend my day dealing with professionals all over the world that are excellent in what they do. And sometimes you have excellent people that don't have excellent people skills, or you have the other way around. So, this just becomes gratifying, and you end up learning. It's like you're like a sponge of knowledge, absorbing everything that you can throughout the day.
It's a two-way process.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
All right. Now, again, I would want to learn a bit about the essence of the industry. As a multi-jurisdiction expert, how do you navigate the complexities of tax and fiduciary regulations across over 20 jurisdictions?
Yes.
And what have been your key learnings from this experience?
So keeping updated on a lot of information. And today, if there's one thing that we have, is a massive amount of information that's being given everywhere. It's not easy, and it requires experience to filter that noise and see what's really important. In the end, trying to make things simpler is crucial. The way I do this is by having specialized groups of professionals in different areas, and we meet together and we share knowledge. So, the way professionals all over the world try to, filter this is by sharing experiences and focusing on specific discussions. It requires a lot of traveling. So technology is very good, but there's nothing like an in-person meeting, So not many people are willing to take a 15-hour flight for an hour and a half meeting. But I've always done this all my life. And I think this makes a big difference, because then that person remembers you for being that guy that flew 15 hours to sit down with him and just listen to what he had to say.
Shows your credibility.
And then the client understands that he's engaging us to do this. When I do this, I create the connection with people that are isolated in their own jurisdiction with their own issues. And it grants me like a free pass access to this network. And what I did is I built this network so that I can then basically share that with my clients. And it's a win-win for everybody, because that particular specialist in that country now has the opportunity to work with clients he never knew existed. The clients are getting access to everyone. And we're in the middle of all of this, just enjoying the experiences and the favorable processes from everyone. So it becomes proactive. Then all of a sudden, that guy will remember us and he's going to say, look, the law here changed. This is now new. Come over again and let's talk about things that I think are going to be happening. And just becomes this hub of knowledge.
Personal Connect certainly creates a lot of value and difference in industry that you are in everywhere around, I believe.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
You're taking that extra mile, that extra step to ensure that we are able to deliver, we are able to portray what exactly our mission and vision is. All right. Well, I would want to understand something. You went swimming, you have been in different industries. How did journey start for you in this particular field?
Yes. I started my career at Arthur Andersen, which was a global audit and tax consulting firm. And the reason, and why did I start there? Again, I need to thank my father for this, because he was the one that actually gave me the advice of saying, I think, with your personality, and he was the person that knew me the most. He basically says, I think you're going to be good at this because you're going to like this. And he gave me the advice to go through the training process with them and to basically do the interviewing system. And I learned from that company about this, because this is more than 30 years ago. And it was all about networking people. And you're sitting down and you could actually get access to this email system, which at the time was very different than what we have today. And you'd be able to find the specialist in this other country. And because we're a part of the same company, he would be able to share that with me. So I think that this entire, idea came from being able to basically somehow develop as something similar to this. The challenge was, at the company, we were working for companies and for businesses. And I wanted to work for the people that owned the businesses. I realized that maybe that wasn't as profitable sometimes. It required a lot of patience because private client work is different than the professional. It's more cold when you're dealing with executives and HR departments and finance departments. But I wanted that other emotional side also, which was a challenge for a lot of people. So that's why I said, I need to do something different. And then after speaking with some people, they said, if you want to go forward with this, you got to do it yourself, because it may be, you'll be successful at this. And then that's the idea that I had. And I started very humbly with a small group of clients, and it worked out.
Where did you see?
Yes.
Where do you see yourself today?
Well, now today, it's something, when I go back to what I used to, how I started this, and today we have, a global presence in the US, in Europe, in Dubai. So, it's just amazing to see how much it's grown. The way I see going forward is it's almost within the trend of the market. I don't have a specific destination or regional area that I'm focusing in. My purpose is to be close to this environment, wherever it takes me. That's it. Go with the flow. That's it.
All right. You have had such a phenomenal career. You have acquired, you have achieved so much. But how do you define success for yourself beyond titles and achievements?
I think the best way to say success is that I'm able to still keep balance between all of these challenges and the professional challenges that I've been facing on my career, but also with family values. So, by the ability of being able to, live this entire professional career, but still have a daughter, for example, who is now 18 years old, and she sees me as her dad, and she's always, getting me advice and saying I had a disagreement with this friend of mine, and so the ability to actually not have become the executive of the professional, but rather just be one part of that. For me, that's very successful, because I was able to keep things simple and at the same time, keep things steady and add value to my clients.
So do you believe that the ability or the opportunity to enjoy the little joys of life, that's what makes you the most successful person?
Yes, because I value them very much. So the ability, so my wife, for example, she's here, with me at this event, and we have the opportunity to have breakfast together, to have dinner together, although I have meetings all day. So it's a big challenge to burden all of this all together at the same time. But I've never let one thing take over the other. I was just speaking with my sister before coming in, and I have nephews, because she's got 2 kids, and I was telling her, look, tell your kids that success starts at home, and it starts with the basic things when you are in your pajamas having breakfast with your family and happy about it, even though half an hour later you're going to be at this big business meeting with 100 people talking about different things. That's only possible because you have that base, and I was able to keep that throughout life.
Wonderful. It has been such a delightful experience to know about your professional and personal journey, the values that you believe in, and how it has shaped you into the wonderful human being that you are today. Thank you so very much, Leonardo, for being a part of Fluxx Talks. And yes, we look forward to welcoming you again.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. Thank
you so much. Well, to all the wonderful people who are connected with us at the moment, all I would want to say is, while it is important to enjoy the perks that comes along our professional journey, it is equally important to value the stuff, value all the blessings that we get in our personal life as well. Treasure, cherish all those moments, live every single day to the fullest, and don't forget all that you have is today. Now, for more such exciting and interesting conversations, don't forget to connect with us on our social media handles, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Fluxx Talks, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Fluxx Talks. This is Anshul Jain signing off, and I'll see you soon again with another exciting topic. Stay tuned. Thank you.